Good afternoon, and this is definitely the hardest video for me to do in this series. So this is 5 stars and one ginormous down as to how this guy could be the best choice for the Democrats. It's super tough, and like and subscribe, and please hate and comment below about how Bernie Sanders could be the best choice for Democrats, but I will try. So who is Bernie Sanders? Well, he is a multiple term senator from the state of Vermont. Before that, he was a multiple term congressman from Vermont, and he was the mayor of South Burlington, Vermont, one of the many towns in the state. He is not a Democrat. And let me make that clear. He is not a Democrat. He is not a registered Democrat except when it becomes necessary for him to win a Democratic office. He is a Democratic socialist. He is proud to say so. He is running as a Democrat as a means. That's not necessarily a bad thing. I can make the same argument that Mayor Bloomberg was a Republican for convenience and is a Democrat now for convenience. It happens. Has not been known to get a ton of legislation passed because when you are a third party member, you don't tend to get a lot of votes when the Democrats or Republicans are in office. But Bernie Sanders does have some things that would be going good for Democrats. The first of all is that there would be no progressive splinter to worry about. Of course not. Can you get more left than Bernie Sanders? I question that in this country. He could also anoint the next generation of that far left. And there are a number of Democrats or non-Democrats that he could choose that the squad would get behind and people that are on there. He does have the support of AOC, and most of the squad, most of the far left is in his corner, not Elizabeth Warren's, when it comes to their endorsements. So he could anoint the next generation. He also is the candidate that energizes people under 30. Now, people under 30 generally don't vote unless they have something to vote for. And I am always amazed at people who are in his bag that is under 30. Now, as somebody who's been in Young Republicans for a long time, I can tell you that some of those that are super, super Republican will become lefties when they hit 35. And many of those who are Bernie Sanderites will become Republicans when they hit 35. But right now, that's not what we're talking about. He could do very well with the 18 to 29-year-olds. And that demographic makes up about 12 to 14% of the potential electorate for Democrats. And more importantly, those voters who in 2016, about somewhere between 12 and 14% of Sanders voters voted for Donald Trump, with another 6 to 8% that voted for third party. You don't have to worry about that with Bernie Sanders. They're going to stick with the Democrats. Now, for a guy who had a heart attack at age 78, he does work his ass off. Okay? I think he got back on the campaign trail faster than Hillary did with her cold back in 2016. And that's important because if you're going to pick somebody that old, you need to have somebody that you can kind of think is with it. And as much as I politically disagree, he would be with it. And if you worry about a splinter, so I said there would be no progressive splinter. If you have a middle splinter with, say with Mayor Bloomberg, and that's why I think he's really spending all this money, because I think he wants to splinter, you really have to question it. Because if you splinter in the middle, you are going to reelect Donald Trump, which, quite frankly, if it's Donald Trump versus Bernie Sanders, I'm going for Donald Trump all day and 8 days a week. And that's the biggest drawback, is there is 0% chance that Bernie Sanders can defeat Donald Trump. Now, yes, sometimes progressives on the left can beat progressives on the right. But Bernie has no track record with African American voters. It's one of the reasons why he's doing so well in Iowa. Looks like he could still win New Hampshire, even though not as much as he did by 2016. And get absolutely clobbered in South Carolina. He also has pretty strong negatives with Asians and Latinos outside of Nevada. For whatever reason, Latinos tended to vote for him in 2016. But Mexicans and especially Cubans and South Floridians are not going to vote for Bernie Sanders. At 79, not only would he be the oldest elected president, he'd be the oldest president. And he is five años greater than President Trump. I tried to do the $5 joke and it bad. He's 5 years older than Donald Trump. So in the middle of the country, they're going to reject a far left candidate. And I actually think that Donald Trump could win a majority of the vote. I could be wrong, but I don't think I'm wrong I give Bernie a 0% chance. Zero. Let's do this right. Zeros. Nadas. I don't think that I'm being a right-wing crazy person. 0% chance Bernie Sanders wins the election. So like and subscribe and hate and comment below. And we're going to conclude this with Joe Biden coming up next.